Welcome to Landsford Canal State Park beside the beautiful Catawba River. There are two main areas within the park to explore. The trail that follows the historical canal and a 20-acre section of the river which features the magnificent rocky shoals spider lilies, which just happen to be in bloom right now. So let's head out. It's time to experience the park. The park was named after Thomas Land, who built a trading post here in the 1700s beside the shoals of the river. The Native Americans and settlers used to cross the river and visit this site. In 1823, the canal was constructed to better transport goods from the upstate down to the coast. Bypassing the rocky and unnavigable shoals, the canal stretched 2 miles and featured 2 sets of lifting locks to adjust for the 32-foot drop in elevation along the canal's length. Interestingly, the same geological features that made the river unnavigable by commercial boats also provide the ideal habitat for the rare rocky shoal spider lily. This 3-foot-tall plant grows in a 20-acre section of the fast-flowing shoals. In an amazing show of beauty, the spider lilies bloom in late May and early June each year, blanketing the river in a gorgeous field of white. In fact, this is the largest colony in the world. The best way to experience this natural wonder is to grab a canoe or kayak and get up close and personal with these amazing plants. One of the neat things about the lilies is they grow out in rocks, which makes it very difficult to kayak through. Just do not impact the lilies and do not do any damage to them. One of the fun facts about spider lilies, the seed of this plant actually sinks, and it will drop into the water, find a crack in a rock, and anchor itself, and that's how these lilies survive high water events here on the river. One of the most important things about paddling Landsford Canal is to be aware of water levels. Check your water levels, make sure you are safe, and the river is safe to paddle at that time. The fun thing about the Catawba River is it is dam controlled, but it is also fed by outside rivers and creeks that come into it. So water levels can change drastically in hours. So it's a good idea to make sure that your skill level matches the water level down here, where it's not too hard, where you have to work too much, and it's not too high to be considered whitewater river. One of the cool facts about this being a state park and being protected is the type of wildlife you can see out here. Landsford is known for 30 years of nesting eagles on the property. It's not unusual to see one out in the river. One of the most popular birds out in the river is the osprey, which you may get lucky and see catch fish. The great blue heron is one of the largest birds in South Carolina, and they are very common here along with Canadian goose, which use this area all year round. During the time of the spider lily bloom, it may not be unusual to see a pair of Canadian geese with babies. They nest here on the islands and can be seen easily in the park. Animal activity out here can include otters, beavers, muskrats. The river itself has tons of freshwater turtles. There's always an opportunity to see some form of snake. As you're on the river enjoying the spider lilies by boat, please pay attention to your right-hand side so you can make sure that you catch the signage we have out there to get you back to your takeout point. The canal system that was built here at Landsford Canal State Park was designed mostly for one-way traffic, trying to get upstate goods all the way down to the coast of South Carolina. The lifting locks are designed to bypass the shoals and drop the boats in the elevation that they bypass in the river. The lead into the lifting locks is almost 1.5 miles, and it was built to be just about level so that you wouldn't have rushing, moving water in there when these boats came in. One of the neat things about the lifting locks and the way the canal worked is boats were charged, we believe, somewhere in a couple of pennies per bale of cotton per lifting lock as they went through, and those tolls were collected by the bank ranger that worked here, pulling the boats down the river by a pack animal of some sort. Landsford Canal State Park has 4 locks. As you're walking down the canal trail and you come up to the lifting lock structures, take notice of the features of how these rocks are carved. The lifting locks actually had doors that would close pointing upstream, so the water pressure would hold the doors closed. If you look really closely at the very top, there is a hole that was designed to ventilate the tunnel that the water moved from the upper chamber to the lower chamber, thus equalizing the water level in between the 2 lifting locks so that the doors could open and the boat could move into the next section. After getting into that section, the same process happened again. The water would lower and equalize in the next section, and the doors would be able to be opened and the boat could continue its way down the canal. Native Americans have always used shallow areas in the river to not only get food and materials, but to cross the river so they can move around. Once settlers came into South Carolina, they accessed these points at several places on the Catawba River. This was one of the closest places to the town of Rock Hill in Charlotte, so we were very well used. We know the Native Americans used this site extensively. We found numerous artifacts here that document them being here for over 10,000 years. Throughout history, this ford crossing or shallow area in the river has been used by many people, from Native Americans from thousands of years ago all the way up to the Revolutionary War. For those of you that choose not to paddle the river, we have a beautiful walking trail that is 3/4 of a mile, follows the river right down to the viewing deck where 20 acres of the spider lilies are sitting right out in front of you. Thank you for visiting Landsford Canal State Park. For more information, visit our website at southcarolinaparks.com.